Welcome back to another episode here on the Inkwell Lounge. I'm your host, Chris, aka Questing for Lore, and in this week's episode, I got the gang back together to talk all about limited gameplay in Wilds Unknown. I'm joined again by Kole, Quest with Kole, Andy from Rules of Villainy, and the Limited King himself, Heath, the Mad Drafter. So come listen in on our chat about our own limited experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the cards we played. And we even looked forward a little bit to what kind of cards we'd like to see in the future of limited gameplay in Lorcana. Trust me, it was a blast. Let's get to it. Well, hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
What up?
Welcome
Chris.
back. Welcome back. I'm happy to talk some limited tonight. I'm looking forward to it with all the pros sitting around me here, you know. Kole with his undefeated record this time. What was it? 400-0 or what did you end up with?
I was not undefeated this past weekend.
I thought you
Andy
were.
was the undefeated one.
But I
it
was
Andy.
undefeated at
Sorry.
Kole. If you want to see, I mean,
I believe it was 407-0 was Andy's final
407-0. There you go. Yeah,
six enchanted in
Cole's
6
with the
days. That's
Enchanted.
my only good luck.
Oh my gosh.
Cole's open and enchanted in every single pack. He's open.
Yeah, they're both undefeated in
10%.
different ways.
10%.
Yeah.
I finished 13-0, 14-0 if you count the unofficial match that Kirsten and I did last night on our live stream.
Yeah.
So,
I heard it was really 15-0.
yeah. Could have been more.
That's Mr. Undefeated.
But yeah, four events. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really happy with my performance. I learned a lot from doing that 4 drops with you guys. It was my 4 drops that carried me the whole way. 4 drop team for life.
Nice.
Just cut that baby head garbage and you're good.
Baby head. Hey, it's
I didn't have a baby
card.
head not a single time.
No, really.
I didn't see him.
Wow.
No.
I would have played
4
it.
events. It's a rare and you can't crack it.
Well, so let's start off real quick and introduce yourselves so that we can, for the audio listeners, they can know who they're hearing. Heath, you want to start off?
Sure. My name is Heath. I am the Mad Drafter. Recent rebrand. You might know me as BR Guest, formerly. I make limited content very infrequently, usually for about a week before each set release. You'll find me predominantly on YouTube, and I linger and stalk people on Twitter/X. All under the Mad Drafter.
Nice. Andy?
I'm ROV Andy, or as you may know me, the Bad Drafter. I learned everything I know from Heath, and somehow I've just kind of followed and stalked him into people thinking I'm good at limited. But no, I do a podcast, Rules of Villainy, with a couple other guys who are first-time trading card game players. We all just love the game, met, and we're just trying to be the best we can be, you know?
I wanna be the best.
Whoa.
Different game.
That's
different
fair.
game.
We're gonna
Yeah, no
Hey, it's like 3
copyright
seconds
strikes.
before you get copyrights.
Yeah. All right, and Kole, how about you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Quest with Kole, or Kole, but Quest with Kole across all social media. I'm the content creator for Team Luxury, or Luxury Gaming out in New Jersey, as well as maybe rebranding to Enchanted Kole because I've pulled 6 enchanteds from Wilds Unknown in the last 6 days. So I don't know, crazy. I have a weekly YouTube series, Coffee with Kole. I do cosplay and all kinds of content. So.
Nice. Well, so
Recently,
we
it was
started.
very late coffee with Kole.
What's
What was
the
that?
last one super late at night? Very late coffee.
I was filming it late. Yes. But they always post at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Tuesday mornings.
So were you drinking coffee that late?
I wasn't actually drinking coffee itself, but out of a coffee mug. Yes.
Oh, so it's
We
all
won't ask
fake.
what
This
was
is
in the
Wizard
coffee
of Oz
mug.
type thing.
It's a
No.
show. Yes, you're like trying to reveal the curtain now, Heath. You know.
we're gonna have to cut that out of this here. We can't reveal the man.
Can't
behind the
reveal the
curtain.
trade secrets.
Yeah.
It'll just go to black
We
real
can talk about it.
quick.
We can talk about it.
Well, cool. So we were already kind of talking a little bit before about some of our pre-release events. Anybody have anything like really cool event that they went to? I know you all went to a couple of events. So anything fun?
Andy, you got to start it. You went to the most.
Yeah, I did 4 of them, all at local game stores in my area. 3 of them were 3-round events. One of them was a 4-round event because it was a win-a-box. So big shout out to Wild Growth Games in like Southern Illinois. They had their anniversary, so they did like a big celebration of like cake and stuff. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
I
Had a lot
like
of fun.
cake in my pre-release.
Yeah, we got cake. Oh, and I won. Well, technically Kirsten won it, but she won this giant syndrome card that is in the background. It is not actually this big, but so
Put it a little farther
um,
back so you can kind of look like you're holding it.
but yeah, I had a lot of fun. Like we said before, I went 13-0, so won a lot of packs. Pulled about 6 less enchanteds than Kole did. So by my math, that's 0. But yeah, overall had a ton of fun. It's always great vibes with the pre-release events.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was right behind that with most events, I think. Maybe with 3 events I made it to. I made it to 3 sealed events in New York / New Jersey. I went to the Uncommons on Friday, did an event at 1 o'clock. And that same evening, I went over to Luxury Gaming, my home store here in New Jersey, did an event. I tried to drop for round 3 to make that event over at Luxury Gaming. So I played 2 rounds. I won 1, lost 1, dropped. They went over to Luxury Gaming, went 2-1, and I think I got like 2nd or 3rd. So I got some good pack pricing there. And then on Saturday morning, I went over to Sip and Play in Brooklyn, and also went 2-1 and with my wins there, and got a couple more packs, and won a little raffle on pricing here of the little Toy Story storage box that we can all now see. Hey,
There you go.
so
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Very cool.
and put 6 enchanteds in 6 days. But who's counting?
Who's counting? Oh,
Who's counting? I'm just going to replace your video with the number 6, and that's it. That's going to be your video the entire time.
You need the storage box to hold all your enchanteds in.
right.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a vault.
No, we got the new Vault X Ecotech inspired by WoW Renowned Set 12 binders to store our new cards in that, guys.
See that segue? Oh, that was smooth.
Use
Subtle.
promo code KOLE for 10% off, guys. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Nice.
Little shameless plug. Little shameless plug.
Just tee up and. All right. Yeah.
How
so
about you, Heath? What were your events like?
I just had the 2 because I was doing a Mother's Day thing on the Saturday. My wife was gracious enough because my LGS had their sealed on the Sunday to let me do Mother's Day on the Saturday. So I hosted a draft on the Friday night, and then we did a sealed on the Sunday. Went 2-1 in the draft, 3-1 in the sealed. So I do not have the undefeated record of Andy. So he is now the master. So he'll be taking over my channel as of next set. Sorry, my daughter is next to me and she's doing cute things. She currently has a pet caterpillar that she took from her schoolyard and has been carrying in a plastic bubble around with a leash. She's taking it for a walk around the apartment. Anyways, so yeah, pre-release. The draft was awesome. Had a lot of fun with it. Got squeezed between my 2 biggest competitors on either side of me, so that was fun. And ended up forced into the exact synergy. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it more later. The exact synergy I said I hate the most, but it was what came to me, so toys it was. But no, I had a blast with that and was so gracious to host it because it's been challenging getting drafts together. And as you probably know from my title, that's my favorite way of playing Lorcana. So that was awesome. We had 10 people there for that. And then we had, I think, 24 people. We hit our cap for the sealed event, which I was going to ask you guys, because I've heard of some really big pre-release events across North America. What were the numbers that you guys were saying? Or more specifically, were they up from previous sets? Like, are you seeing momentum building in your areas for pre-release?
That's a great question. In New York City specifically, I know one of our biggest organized play, Hex & Co., which has 3 locations, no longer supports Lorcana. So we saw a major influx at the Uncommons on Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We had like 28 people there, and they only had 24 of the boxes. So I was one of like the 4 people who didn't pre-register. So I got 6 packs instead of getting like a pre-release kit. And they let me proxy the promo with like a random card because you can play the promo. So
Yeah.
it ended up working out, but it was like that many people that showed up that they had more than they thought. So
28 people at 1 p.m. on a Friday. That's awesome.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, ours was like, I want to say 11 or 12. So it's still a pretty good crowd.
Yeah.
But
But how do you say that compares? Like, are you seeing momentum? Like, are you seeing more people
it's-
interested in it, more people showing up?
honestly, it's probably about the same. It might have been one or two people more. But there was one or two that they had never done a sealed event before. They've done some of the draft
Nice.
stuff in the past, but
Yeah.
sealed was kind of a new thing for them. So, you know, we kind of helped them out a little bit, trying to think through how to pick the cards and organize their decks and everything. So, but it was fun.
Nice.
It was really cool.
Andy, what about you? How's the Illinois area?
Man, it's great. I'm like right across the river from St. Louis, so I do have my events like in the city St. Louis and then some in Illinois. It really, depends. The Mother's Day one I did was obviously very, very small. Not a lot of people showed up to that. It does seem like it's growing. It's hard to say if it's because of maybe the new kits, because of Toy Story, just because of natural timing. But at the first one I did on Friday night, we had 18 people, I want to say. But there was 1, 2, 3, it's like 4 or 5 brand new players who had only ever played Lorcana at their house with their friends. It was like a whole friend group and a couple couples and things like that. So that was really cool to see. We hope they, come back out and try playing some Core Constructed or Infinity. And then the same at game night in St. Louis on Monday. That's the event. Brad, the mayor of Lorcana, he runs that event. And they had 26 people or so. That was the biggest one I did.
Amazing.
Wow, it's a good size.
And then maybe 3 or 4 new people there. I know there was a couple people who, one of them was Brad was literally like walking him through how to play the game when I got there. So
Awesome.
it was a lot of fun. A lot of good people.
I think the coolest thing from the weekend was on Friday, this guy who reached out to me via social media from Brazil, who was first time in New York City, wanted to do like releases. So I gave him some of the shops and he came out. I got to meet him, Danny, shout out. And then on Saturday, Sip and Play met another guy from Singapore, who's his first time in New York City. So it's like, I think we're seeing a lot of more influx from these external markets that they were trying to reach into. I think we're seeing that clearly. And I hope we continue to see that in North America itself. But I definitely personally am seeing the outside growth.
Yeah. Love it. The biggest one I heard of personally was Jared, Citizens of Lorcana. He had one that I think was 42 people for pre-release. And I'm sure that wasn't the biggest because that was Vegas, and that doesn't even strike me as like the biggest Lorcana market. So I'm sure there was even bigger ones than that.
Wow.
So that was awesome to hear.
Well, I guess we'll find out on the Lorecast tomorrow, right? They're supposed to be showing off like pictures and stuff from pre-release events. I think that's what they said. So.
Yeah.
Maybe a montage of me just pulling enchanteds.
It's like you flip a card and one of them's an enchanted and the other one's a picture from a pre-release event.
A friend of mine played Pack Rush with the Merida iconic.
Oh no!
I told them this is why you always check. Get a third party to check the last card in each of the packs.
PSA 6.
You monster.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Ripple shuffle.
But they didn't use sleeves. They did,
Yeah.
PSA 4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Bent corners.
Yeah.
Centering. No.
Well, what did y'all think of the pre-release kits, boxes? Sorry, not kits. Yeah.
Thumbs up. That's all I can say. And the postcards, pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you did a bunch of these events, you've probably got a couple extra postcards. And I'm not going to tell you not to send those postcards to Greg Tito at the Ravensburger headquarters in Seattle. Address in the description below. No, I'm just but
his personal home address.
That would actually be pretty funny.
Just doxing Craig.
That is where I will be sending all of my my postcards to Greg Tito from the Wildernaut.
I will say I have a different response than the others, but not necessarily negative. Just I think there's more that we can do in that space, which is to say, I love that we're starting, but I think there's a lot more to do, which is to say, it's not a big step from just 6-packs. It is something, but it is not a big step from just 6-packs. So versus, if you look at Magic the Gathering is always a great example of, what works well. They've got lots of things that isn't working well, so don't get me wrong on that. But in terms of their pre-release, they have colors that matter. They, can't do all 6 color or 5 for them. You can't do all colors in their deck and all that. So that's where things matter, and they lean a lot more heavily into the synergies. But if we get to that point where we lean more heavily into the synergies and whatever, they have seeded packs to go along with your random booster packs. So for example, in their most recent set, they had 5 different kind of color pairs. And so you could pick a seeded pack from one of those color pairs, and the pack would entirely be those 2 colors, and then your others were random, so you weren't necessarily guaranteed to be in those colors, but you got a better chance of it. Which is to say, if let's say this set there was a toys seeded pack and a super seeded pack and a Madrigal seeded pack, and you could pick which family, which movie franchise you wanted to be, and then you'd open your random boosters, and maybe it wasn't that you could go into toys, but you were just better positioned to do so. I would love to see something like that, but I think it's going to necessitate the set design being more limited focused and having more synergies than 21 toys and 17 supers and however many madrigals we had.
So that's a good idea, and I actually played in a Riftbound pre-release event, which does the same kind of thing. They give you a seeded pack. The one question I have, you're saying you get to choose. So I would go to the event and I would say, I would like the toys one, please. But I choose this before I've opened my random packs, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
like
with Riftbound, it was random. So your
you could do random too.
But
either way.
And here was my biggest complaint was that, it had the different things, toys and supers, but toys, just for example, toys was like significantly better than supers and heroes and support matters and blah blah blah. And it was like, so what it was basically like the promo that you get in your box right now. Cruella, Queen of Hearts, way better than Cinderella or some of the others.
Better than Queen of Hearts, but yes, I get what you're saying.
Maleficent, okay, Maleficent's good too. You can definitely low roll on that.
Yeah.
You could high roll. Now it's an entire pack of cards. I feel like that's a huge that pushes you way further.
Absolutely.
This is where the set design matters, right? This is where if we have a kind of balance of synergies, and they're never going to get to be perfect, right? And I think that quite frankly, the promos, and it probably matters that it was only 1 card versus a pack of cards, right? The disparity between the bottom and the top wasn't like game-breaking huge.
Right.
It was significant, but it wasn't like, oh, I didn't get Cruella, I got Pocahontas, game over. Right? If it's an entire seeded pack, that might feel a little bit differently, but like they're never going to get perfectly aligned. But if the set design gets to a place where like we've got more of a synergy and that the synergies are relatively balanced, then great. But Magic is an example. So the latest set, again, there was those 5 different schools. It was the schools of Strixhaven, and you would our LGS literally you bought your ticket for that school. So there was a finite number of each, and so you bought into it, and as soon as that school sold out, then you could buy from the other one. So inevitably, the one that people assume was strongest was sold out first, but I can tell you that the school that ended up being possibly the strongest was actually the last one available at my LGS at least. So also people's assessment of things might be different. But if there's a huge disparity between, it's problematic. But if they're like all relatively comparably strong, they just kind of do different things. And I think that would be a great place to be. So that's the main thing I would love to see for pre-release keys. The other thing that I'll say is like, one, I think the space was relatively wasted. I think the deck box was superfluous. I don't know anybody in mind that kept theirs. So I think that was kind of a waste. Having the 4 dice, I think was neat for new players, but for anybody else that had played consistently, it didn't really matter. But I mean, as long as the cost, like if that's not really affecting the cost, I'm not too worried about it. But like, relative to other things that could do, is that cost adding enough that it's really justifying having those in there? So I just think there's tweaks and there's things that they could do to improve on it. But ultimately, I just love the fact that they're starting. I love the fact that they had something interesting like the promos and the postcards. I think postcards was a beautiful touch, right? Because I'm sure the cost was minimal on that. It was just something cool that they could add in that made it, extra special. So loved those things in general.
And so, Ravensburger, if you want to hire someone specifically to run the limited sealed draft department of the game design of your Lorcana
I'll
game,
do it for free as long as you don't need me to do it more than like evenings and weekends. I love my job.
hit up Heath. Hit up Heath, because that I'm in on that pitch. Sign me up.
Yeah,
Sign me
definitely.
up. Meeting, you win the meeting.
Well, the reason I like people to be able to choose is because, like, if someone's really passionate about Toy Story, if someone's really passionate about Incredibles, being able to say, hey, I really want to go into the toys deck, that would just be such a exciting experience to be like, I know I get to go into the toys deck. Yeah, I might not, the rest of my packs might not support it as much, but at least the seeded pack will give me enough to start with. But that's where the depth, again, like I said, we can't do that if there's 21 toys, 17 supers, 12 madrigals, whatever. We need like 40 to 50 of each. Because quite frankly, like if the entire set was 3/4 madrigal, supers, and toys, would it really impact the overall success of the set so much? Like, any given set in constructed, how many cards do we actually pull out of it? 6, 7 cards out of any set that actually become relevant in constructed. And so also, what's the rest of the set for?
Yeah, if you think about it, like the character, apart from a few very fun and interesting and specific, like lore focused, design choices, a card is a card, right? Like Woody, Buzz, they could be any character. A lot of especially the vanilla cards and things like that. Like I said, some of the abilities obviously do kind of seem like they line up with, how they come from the movie and stuff. But you're absolutely right. You could definitely do that. It probably makes storytelling. And I've also heard the argument that like they purposefully spread out franchises to try and draw more people in, right? Yeah. If this was just Madrigals this set, I'd kind of be like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Madrigal's not my favorite.
But this is where they could also like identify broader themes when it comes to the synergies. Like the synergy didn't have to be Madrigals; it could be family. Then it's madrigals and it's Coco and it's like obviously to the point where we have these families in the game, right? Toys doesn't have to be Toy Story alone. There's other franchises with toys in them, right?
I think one of the things that they split up this set with too that I don't think really helped them is how they kind of chose to do like most of the toys and the Wildernut, right? And the Amber and Emerald, and then you had most of the Madrigals and the Amethyst and Ruby or whatever.
Sapphire, Amethyst.
Sapphire. Yeah. Sapphire, Amethyst. And you have the last one. Yeah. I think that I see the vision there. Like you're saying, like the seeded packs being able to choose that kind of vision, I think is kind of where they're leading to, but it kind of led to a point to where cards like Dale were overlooked for slots and like Enchanteds, or like they should have been picked in the Epic slots or something like that. And because they had to feature the Toy Story cards in the Amber Enchanteds because they put them all in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think they kind of limited themselves in that way unintentionally, even though the design space was still really cool with the 3 locations. I just think I would have also loved to see, some more of the toys in the other locations more so. But maybe we're getting that in Vine. Who knows? I don't know. So.
Yeah, so there's been a couple of cards that we've mentioned as far as like cards that y'all found to be good for just for the set in general. What I'm really curious about though is in y'all's experience at these events, were there any cards that you just found out that were like overperformers, underperformers, like that seemed like they were great and then turned out to be big duds?
Gyro evac. Gyro evac. I think my 3rd time in the sealed playing was my 3rd deck that I didn't have barely any evasives. And I slapped that bad boy in there and I was able to slap it down like turn 5 or 6 and just keep one of my big guys that was questing for 2 evasive for like 3 or 4 turns, and it got me a win. Like I think a card like that, or a card was an under or overperformer. Anyone else hop in here, Andy, if you have another one.
No, Cruella, I think was for me a huge over. I pulled 3 in one single set of 6 packs. That's not even a promo. Just 3 rares.
Just the regulars, yeah.
But even just the promo, being able to throw down that card, there's like nothing that removes it, right? And then you just like quest with all of your stuff, and then or any of your things, and then whatever that like biggest baddest character they had that was going to take out yours.
Ooh.
Yeah, Cruella's got it on the cleanup next turn.
Yep, that took out one of my my Pegasus, so that was unfortunate. Only had 1 damage on it too. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
And then another one that I kind of feel like I overlooked a little bit. I don't remember how Heath rated it here, but the Lord MacGuffin, 5 cost, uninkable.
Yeah.
Great.
That was actually
That
really
card
good.
was
really good.
So good. I just slammed that card every time I could. Sticks around for a while. 3 damage to a damage character is this. It's basically the same thing, right? Most cards are gonna be within 3 damage of being removed. So Cruella, Lord MacGuffin, they're both removing a character and putting a big body down with a lot of lore.
Yeah. There was a Madrigal that removed damage too. I think it was Louisa.
The Louisa one. Or
no,
was
the
it
legendary? Oh yeah.
No, the or was it?
Are you talking about Alma, the 3 cost 2/4?
No, I think it was like his 5 or 6 drop. Yeah. She's fairly big.
5 drop 6/4.
It's like a Sapphire Louisa. Maybe it's not Louisa.
Oh no, you're not playing the 7 drop 5/7, are you?
I didn't play it, but I saw someone play it, and it actually did work. It actually did work.
I don't. Any card can do work in some situations, but
especially with ham. If you get ham on turn 2,
7 costs for a 5/7 that can only move damage onto it, and thus make it weaker to take out your 7 drop with my 3 drop. No.
Got ham out with that.
But I will agree with all the like may come into play exerted cards. I think all of those pretty much overperformed relative to, I don't think by a ton, but I think overperformed relative to where I expected them to. For me, I actually preferred Lord Dingwall, the 5/6 Challenger +3 over Lord MacGuffin, especially since it's inkable. But they've all been pretty serviceable.
Yeah, Lord Dingwall was super fun. You had to time it just right, but he was pretty fun. Yeah.
Hey.
RC card would be great to slap down and just like let sit there until you could spend the 1 lord.
I'm not an RC fan. I just have to say.
It was good.
I enjoyed RC as my 1 drop into turn 2 quest with RC, play another 1 drop into leave him for the majority of the game and then use him as I will later. So I got 2 lore out of him early and then got to use a 3/2 2 lore body later.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But he's also awful later in the game, so he's not high card. But he's like a C for me. I think he's
more than often he got taken out by something and left damage on them, and then you could with the Cruella or with MacGuffin just like finish it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm usually not exposing him to something that can take him out for free. But so I agree with Kole on the gyro evac. I think that again, it's just the uninkable that's problematic for me. If it was inkable, it'd be way up there for me. Being uninkable and being something that isn't always going to be useful or not always very useful is never going to be super, super high for me. But I think I had it rated at like a C or C+, and I'd bump it up at least another point from there. So at least kind of C+ to B-. Because there's so many powerful evasives in the set. I had a deck with Bashful, Todd, the 3/3 triplet evasives, and 2 alerts, the 4/3 Syndrome and the 4/3 Angus that gives alert. I had 5 in my deck that could impact evasives, and I still felt like I was falling behind on evasives. So I think Gyro Evac is definitely going to be useful. Andy, it looks like you want to say something about Gyro Evac.
Yeah, the Gyro Evac, I don't know if I got one, but if I did, I don't know that I'd play it. Obviously evasives are really good, but I don't know that I ever really want to sacrifice a turn of playing a character for this Gyro Evac. And I saw a couple other people play it, and while it helped with the evasives, it just kind of seemed clunky.
Put them behind on board.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a card I want to play on 3.
Yeah, for me, I just kind of like if you have the evasives, you obviously play them. If you have the alert characters, you obviously play them. Like those are obviously very valuable characters. You need to be able to out other evasives.
Yeah.
But you know, if we're just playing character back and forth 1 through 5, and if I'm playing a better character on each of those turns, and then turn 5 they play a Todd, right? And my 5-drop is just like you know, one of the with a Donald, the 5-drop 3/6 quest for 2, right? It's like, you know, he can't take mine out. He's not going to. Like, I'm matching his questing, right? Like, sure, I can't remove that Todd, but if I then play more 5-drop,
the problem is if
drop
next turn they play Copper or next turn they play Pegasus,
so
then
you gotta have
rough way.
good. You gotta have better characters than them. But yeah,
This was how I lost my one match on the Sunday. Was that very situation. So the other thing that last thing I'll say about gyro evac, why I think it's important, is specifically because I think this set is so weak, which I don't see as a bad thing, by the way. I like, you know, underpowered sets as long as they're balanced. But this set is weak. But specifically, the only 4 cards that I have at A, every single one of them is made useless if your opponent has all evasives and you do not. Which is to say, the Luisa Legendary, Mr. Incredible, Babyface, Bruno, Babyhead. Sorry, Jacob. Babyhead and
I was
Bruno,
like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah. 4 of them require you to put damage on your characters and or challenge your opponent's characters. And if they have evasives and you do not have gyro evac or Angus to give alert or something like that, all of a sudden those cards seem a lot less impactful. Says the guy who had Bruno with a lack of evasives. So that's the other thing I'll say about gyro evac is it is benefited by and helps make sure that the best cards in the set remain the best cards in the set. There's one other card that I want to say overperformed, which we already saw it was good. We talked about this in the 4-drop, but it just performed even better than I thought it would, which was Gaetan Moliere. The 2/5 evasive for 4, inkable, on quest, draw 2, discard 2. Literally the only thing that feeds the 2 card into discard strategy that I actually like. And, you know, just digs you to your best cards. But specifically in the draft that I did on Friday, one of my opponents that was on the other side of the table got 3 Gaetan and 2 Firefly Swarm. So he could easily mulligan into Gaetan, which could easily dig for Firefly Swarm. So he just had easy 3-cost Dragonfire at multiple times each game. It was just such a steamroll.
Crazy.
Yeah,
So,
Kirsten had to play against someone who had that like same setup. They had multiple of the Firefly Swarms of the Gaetan. I do want to give a shout out to Leviathan's Lair if we're shouting out 4-drops.
Hey, yes.
That card
did work for me too.
Unsurprisingly is not bad. So again, the strategy is big dudes, big characters, good, the best value character you can get in at the drop. And so on turn 4 or even later, like 5 or 6, where you've stopped inking and you're just playing the cards left in your hand, it forces them to break the stalemate and challenge with one of their characters, which then opens you up for a better value trade, you know, because you get to a challenge in, and they also lose a character. So like it is a 0/4 quest for 2 with the Cusco effect with no touchy is essentially what it is.
No, because you're assuming that you actually get to quest. See, the thing about Cusco is you get to quest first and then they have to challenge it.
Fair. So they
run in their 4-strength character into it after having played their 1 or 2 drop from their hand or having one left behind on the board. I'm not saying it can't do work. Again, every single card that either generates lore or removes something or quest for lore, everything that's not a useless item can be good at some point. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying I definitely do not believe in
frequently than I thought. Plus, have you seen the synergy with what's that like 6-cost 4/6, the steel one, Fergus?
Oh, sure.
Quest for 2.
Yeah. Again, like if you can get combos, that changes the equation.
You play whenever this character becomes exerted, so you can challenge with your 4/6 and just play that location from the discard for free. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, for sure. And this is where, keep in mind, anytime I rate things, it's always in a vacuum. It's always, there's nothing else in your sealed pool other than this one card. As soon as you factor in the way things work together and your curve and what your deck's trying to do and all these different things, that definitely can alter how you should be assessing any card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, Leviathan's Lair was a pretty decent 4.
Yeah.
Like, if you're playing the strategy of just like trying to play the best value you can at each cost, it
Yeah.
was not too bad.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought.
For the record, and we got called out on this in the comments, we also undervalued the queen because we were really focused on the giving card, whereas if you just ignore that and it's just a 4-cost 5/3 that occasionally quests for 3,
And draws a card.
that's at least a C-, if not better.
Yeah, but
Um,
that card was not too bad.
Yeah. And Eleanor, this set proved to be more useful at
Terrible.
1-drop than I gave it credit for, because we I think rightfully said, if you're not really playing 1-drops, then it becomes pretty mid to bad. Whereas because the rest of the set was so weak, it made the 1-drops more viable, which made 1, 2, 3, 4 Eleanor a little bit more viable, which again, I don't think it was great, but I think it ended up being playable, whereas we gave it an F. So I'll say that.
Eleanor's still an F. I stand by that. If you have a problem with it, you take it up with me.
Wait, you're fighting for Leviathan's Lair.
Oh, I would play Leviathan's Lair over Eleanor any day of the week. Any day of the week, because I'm not questing my one. We've already determined I'm not playing a 1-drop if I don't have to, right? If I'm going second, the only reason I play my 1-drop is if you played a 1-drop, and if you didn't, thank you. You did a service to this game. I'm gonna ink my 1-drop as well.
You did a service to my big body, like
but you know, Eleanor, I wouldn't really want to quest my 1, 2, and 3 anyway. Right? They're just gonna take them all out, and I lose everything for what, a card, a lure, and 1 damage. Come on.
So I got a fair bit of good value out of her. Again, not saying she's good, but we'll say she's playable. And the fact that you can choose to leave her back, whereas Leviathan Slayer you cannot.
Yeah, but they lose a character when they run into it.
Their worst character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes they only have 1 character.
They're 1-drop that's been sitting there. They're RC that's been sitting there for
Yeah. Or heaven forbid, they're Will-o'-the-Wisp.
Oh, yeah.
Great card.
It is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go back to their hand then.
They banish it. It doesn't have to be banished in a challenge, does it?
Pretty sure it's in a challenge.
Is it?
Oh, okay.
Also in
a challenge. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, kind of an underrated card though. Will-o'-wisp.
But I'd still banish it. It's like if I don't get it back, I'd still banish my 0-3.
Fair. But my Will-o'-wisp is probably I think the best 1-drop in this set, because
I'm pretty sure I had it at the best 1-drop. Yeah, for sure.
There was like one game I was playing where I was questing it and questing it and questing it and questing it. And I was like, bro, please take out my Will-o'-the-Wisp. I need to ink this so bad.
That's why I left it on the board sometimes.
You can always just challenge it into their thing and then get it back to your hand and then ink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you, Will-o'-the-Wisp with inner strength was such tech for me. If someone ever played a 2-1 on the play, and then I played Will-o'-the-Wisp, and of course they quest with their 2-1 because I've only got a Will-o'-the-Wisp, and it's like inner strength, yo.
Nice.
I told you I had weak pools. This is the best that I could hope for.
One
it's
of
still
my,
not terrible, honestly, but yeah.
One of my sealed kits, I counted them, 36 1 and 2 drops.
Whew.
That's 50% of the cards that I was given were 1s and 2 drops.
Yeah,
absolutely bonkers. I was not too happy about it. I think I did get a Woody in that set of packs though, so it was like somewhat salvageable. I was like, I still have a chance.
my best 2-drop in my seal pool on Sunday was a C-. That was my best 2-drop.
At least it wasn't one of the Fs. So.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So I'm curious, for each of y'all, top 3 cards, if you could open your packs and get these 3 cards, what would they have been?
I should go last. So...
Well, Cole's going to say 3 enchanteds.
No, just the buzz. Just the buzz. That's it. That's all I want left. Oh, and then you got a friend in me, maybe, but I'm greedy.
I mean, it's easy for me. I got 4 A's in the whole set, so it's 3 of them.
All right. I mean,
for me, it's probably would be like Mr. Incredible, Babyhead, and Bruno. Probably. I've got Louisa as the second best card, but I think those 3 would work really well together. Right, challenging in with things and then healing with Bruno. Getting, double cards out of things that are banished in challenges, supers that are banished in challenges with Babyhead and Mr. Incredible. But of course, Mr. Incredible is really best when you've got a lot of supers in your deck too. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't think any of those were very impactful for me in my run. Not that they're not good cards. I was looking for those cards. I never found them, and if I did, they just.
So you're saying the cards you didn't have weren't impactful for you?
Well, some of them I didn't. Sometimes I didn't have them, so they couldn't be impactful. But other times when I did have them, like Bruno, I was just kind of like, it's just another character. You know, I didn't get to do its fancy thing with it. You know,
you didn't just quest and heal with it and do your develop the Bruno?
There was like no healing to be done. There was no develop. I had already basically won the game, and it was just another big body 2 quester that was basically like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, I never.
If you'd already won the game, what are you expecting out of anything?
I'm just saying I never got a chance to experience the extra goodies that came with something like, you know, Bruno. I do think that the Mickey Mouse, the purple Mickey Mouse, the 3-cost uninkable, actually ended up being pretty impactful for me. I had him in several events. I was able to, if you were get him off once or twice, it was super awesome. You know, the same kind of goes for Woody, right? It's just another draw card. I never, by the time I play Woody, I ideally don't have 2 drops in my hand. I have like 5 and 6 drops that I'm about to just slam down turn after turn. But you know, anything that drew a card really.
So the Amethyst Mickey, if you could open any 3 cards, the Amethyst Mickey would be one of the cards you choose?
Maybe. I'm thinking,
you know,
probably Cruella for sure.
At the same cost, it's uninkable. It was uninkable at the same cost in 3. It was a chip, I think. The 1/4 reveal the top card of your deck.
That's a Monterey Jack.
Monterey
and
Jack.
You're saying if you could pull any 3 cards, that would be one of the cards.
No, Monterey Jack was terrible.
It did so much work for me. I was turn one-ing.
I'm not saying it's not going to do work, but of 3 cards of the entire set, you're picking Monterey Jack?
Of the cards, I feel like
you
guys are killing me right now.
It was like consistently good though, because I was always drawing a card off it, and then if I had the Dale, which I did, like 2 of my matches, I like turn 1 the 0/3 dropped or like Wisp, turn 2 like Prince 1/5, turn 3 him, turn 4 Dale, and now I have like a 5/5, a 4/4, and a 3/3. Like
this is the problem I have with people and ratings sometimes is they use positive associations with singular experiences they have versus trying to take the ecosystem as a whole of the set and all its many intricacies and like try to come up with a unbiased
card on play. And I like that. 1/4 always draws you a card on play.
Does not always draw you a card on play. No, sir.
You only run characters.
If you only run characters. And you
mostly run characters. I think for me,
you just said you want to vacuum.
For me, I'm kind of assuming that I'm going to get the big characters. Like you kind of just usually get some of them. Yep. But I mean, Cruella is obviously really nice. You know, I'd probably want to go for something with like higher rarity, which I don't really know off the top of my head. Those would be the ones I'd want to open, right? Because the more rare, the more, you know, the better chance that you're the only one that has one of them. Like a Bruno Madrigal, right? Like I don't need to, you know, manifest a Bruno Madrigal into one of my packs as one of these 3. Chris is a genie that has given us 3 wishes of 3 cards put out of the 72 that are in our...
I'm trying to think. I feel like Mrs. Incredible would be really high for you.
Mrs. Incredible Andy is a common though, isn't she?
She's a rare.
Oh, she's a rare. Okay, yeah, Mrs. Incredible
the
is
5/6
a really good card.
that can be evasive.
Yeah,
like, it's a big body that can be evasive. I feel like that would be high up there.
That's a really good one. But yeah, my point is like I'm not wasting one of my 3 card wishes on, you know, I've got 69 other cards in this pack that I'm going to be able to open up, and chances are one of them is going to be a Bruno. Okay.
I just want the best cards.
Regardless,
if you'd already won and there was no damage left on your characters and there was nothing to challenge, of course it's not going to be good. But in that case, I don't care.
I'm also thinking about the wrong Bruno here. This is the 4/5 Bruno, 5 cost.
Yes,
4/5
the
Bruno.
Quest removes damage, and when damage is
That's
removed,
a great Bruno.
you got to develop your brain.
He's understated.
Oh, sure, but I compare him to the Sapphire Pete from last set that
Yeah, he's
you
not
paid
bad.
1 to boost it, and you drew a card. It was a 5/5, but effectively it was a 5/5 for 6 since you paid 1 to boost. So no, I think his stats were perfect for relative to
I think
what
one
he
of the
got out
few non-characters I ran was the card advantage card, and it actually was like,
Yeah.
That is a good one.
that was
Yeah.
great.
Oh yeah, card advantage, definitely great call out, Kole.
And
100%.
this growing pressure is another one that I think was really, really good. That was one of the few actions that I ran.
It was good, and I did run it, and it did do me like well, like a couple plays, but it was also timed for like I was like, oh, a large body character I would also very much appreciate right now. So I could see the arguments of that one not being as impactful for some people, but I think card advantage great across the board.
Yeah. Never saw one of those all weekend, for what it's worth.
I liked on curve essentially. If your opponent only had one character that outed your 3-drop, you sing the this growing pressure on that one character, and now you get the favorable trade on that one character, and you still get to play a character, a 4-drop of your own. And it kind of is an early like break of that stalemate, which then sets you up better for the later
That's why
stalemate.
Ariel worked very well for me as well, for that same reason. So
I
Chris,
like
what are
those
your 3
ones.
cards?
Let's see. So I actually really did like not Lord Macintosh, the Lord Dingwall. He came in super handy for me, like lots of times. The Ruby Dash was super great. He was fun. I ended up with 2 of those, so that was fun. And then I did really like the big evasive Pegasus. That one was great, just because it could just sit there and take it, and it seemed like none of my opponents had evasives or alert, so I don't know why, but I got lucky on that one. It would just sit there basically as soon as I put it out, it would just keep turning.
Even if they do, it's just so big.
It is, yeah. And I had like 1 or 2 where they were able to boost their character and give it evasive at the same time or something, and just wiped it. Other than the Cruella, that was the one that really hit me hard. I was like, oh, I'll just do the same thing, just sit here and turn it over and over. Yeah, the Cruella saw that.
Must be nice to have 3 of them.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. The Pegasus, what are the stats on that one?
6/7 for 6.
Yeah, 6/7 for 6. Yep, evasive.
How dare you?
How dare you? We got him.
God.
Speaking of 6-drops though that were really impactful and unequal, Sid did some work coming in, making
Pretty
people
nice.
make that choice of like what character to get rid of.
I
Like
wrecked Sid.
it was impactful enough, like that I'm like I would put him in every time I see him. I think so.
Yeah, he also fits the bill of big character, right? Uninkable kind of sinks, but 6 cost 5/5, especially compared to like Lyle. Lyle was a card during one of the events that I like held it there and stared at it for a while, thinking, is this a big enough boy that I care about? I did not play it. Heath is like shaking his head at me. I did not play it. 6 cost 6/4 is not really worth it in my opinion. And the only I think I just had this growing pressure, and maybe I had the big Heffalumps. I don't know what it is, like the double Heffalumps, the 4 cost.
Strange Things.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't really care about getting them back that much. Like, it's just not worth it to me. So
Sid was patently useless against me. I mean, he's legendary, so I only saw him a couple times, but like both times I could see my opponent inking better cards to get to 6 with their uninkable 6-drop, and like the last game that I played against him, I remember distinctly. I had a 4/3 with 2 damage on it. And, like play that, I'm like, I bet, and I quest for 6 or whatever.
Right.
Well, so were there any of the synergies that y'all thought in the set actually worked in limited, or were they all just kind of mediocre?
The biggest one was Mirage, lets you draw a card off of super or hero, and there's a lot of heroes in this set. I think she fit that bill of fitting into not just that, Incredibles synergy, And I hope they go more with that, where it's like super or this or that, where they kind of make it where it's like it could hit these synergies or it could hit these synergies.
Yeah.
I think that was a good
100%.
shining light of that kind of a card.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the toy stuff worked semi decently. The cards themselves weren't great enough for me to really play a bunch of them. But yeah, the Rex was good, the Ham was good. There's I guess none of them really that synergize with each other are too great. I didn't ever get to. I think I played Jesse maybe once or twice because the secondary ability is not terrible. But I never got to really use it because I never had enough of them. I think it's probably not like the same kind of synergy you were talking about, but I did like the chip, the 6-cost 2/7 chip that draws you a card if you had 4 willpower or more.
Yep,
that
one
great.
was nice too.
That worked out really, really well.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was technically a synergy that they've imbued, was like the willpower matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
That counts.
So that was really nice to be able to do.
Yeah. So of the 3 main synergies, so Toy, Super, Madrigal,
Madrigal,
I think Madrigal was too thin. Wasn't nearly enough of them. But they did work well together. But really, like, the only 2 that I really... Well, 3, sorry. The Sapphire 6-drop Isabella was solid. But the Luisa is the best of them, and she's a legendary. And Bruno is fine on his own, so he doesn't really need to be in the Madrigal deck to work. Same with Luisa. And Isabella also fine on her own. So, like, the 3 best Madrigal cards, perfectly fine on their own, don't really need the synergies. Maybe somewhat benefit or assist them, but don't really need it. Supers, pretty much same thing, a little bit more density. Now there's 17 supers, but again, they're all pretty good on their own, but there is a couple of payoffs that really benefit from the supers, Mr. Incredible being most, right? So when you challenge with a super, you draw a card, that's fantastic, and the supers are already good on their own. So it's like, of course, you're going to play him no matter how many supers you've got, and you're going to play a lot of other supers, no matter what other synergies. And so combine that all together, great. Toys is the one that there was most of them. There was 21 toys. And, there was a lot that were really poor on their own. So they kind of needed each other. But also the biggest payoffs also didn't really care about toys, with the one exception of Jessie. So Jessie needed a significant investment of toys. You needed 2 other toys on the board for her to work. Whereas the other payoffs, like Woody, for example, technically benefits toys. It gives 1 willpower extra to toys, but otherwise doesn't really care about toys. So the toy synergy just wasn't cohesive enough. And even at the 21, even being the most dense, just didn't have enough cards that were good on their own. But none of them were dense enough to really build the supers deck, the toys deck. None of them were dense enough. So this is where, I already said it at the start. So I'm not going to belabor that point again. But I really feel like, I think, Kole, you said it best, is cards that technically are synergistic, but really can work in a lot of different decks. Like, you could have no supers in your deck, but you just got a decent amount of heroes, and all of a sudden Mirage, is good enough on her own. So that's where the state that we're at. But of course, aspirationally, I'd love to get to more synergies. And the last thing I'll say is, you mentioned, Kole, having a broader range of things that trigger synergies. Ravensburger, please stop creating cards that need a certain named card. My bullseye never came out for 2, Ravensburger, ever.
I've seen it happen.
Statistically, it's going to happen.
Yeah, just play in a field events, you'll eventually see it happen. It's all right.
In 1,000 sealed events, maybe it happened twice.
I guess I'll start with the semi insightful thing here, or my thoughts here. I think that Lorcana is not meant to be mono synergistic, if that's a word. If not, I just made it up, and you can figure it out from the Latin origins. I don't think you're meant to play Toy Story deck. I don't think you're meant to play a Frozen deck, or I think the goal here is that it's a group of all of your favorite Disney movies. I get to take my princesses from Frozen and my, toys from Toy Story, and together these sort of micro synergies that end up working together with each other, and cross synergize between franchises and things. I think that is kind of the way it seems Lorcana is built. So it is a little diametrically opposed to limited and what he's talking about here. You're never going to really be able to do these limited synergies in limited format if you are stuck without 50 madrigals, right, or 50 supers or something like that. But yeah, I think it feels like that's the way they want to go, where they want you to cross synergize. They want you to mix all of your favorites together. And also I want to, stand up for the Family Madrigal, because there are way better cards than the ones Heath listed. You've got the Isabella Madrigal, the blue one.
That was one of the three I mentioned.
I thought you said the orange one. I thought you meant. The orange one's good too, though. The 6-cost orange amber one is good. 4/5 quest for 2. The Dolores 5-cost 5/5 quest for 2 lets you see your opponent's hand.
Dolores is good.
It's fine.
Casa
But
Madrigal,
also, it has nothing to do with
good.
Madrigal synergies.
Casa Madrigal, good. You got even the Isabella 3-cost 3/3 is not terrible. Augustin 4-cost 3/6 is great. Pedro 2-cost 3/3 with 1 damage on them.
I would say there was a dad with his daughter at one of my events that was talking about the Casa Madrigal card and how she inked. She had 2 of them in her deck and she inked one. He was like, "You never ink this card. It's one of your best cards in your deck." And I was like, "It's good, but it's not like the best card in the deck. She could have inked one."
Yeah.
I
I didn't say it was the only good cards. I said those were the 3 best cards.
Mirabelle 4/6, the 4-cost 3/6, remove 2 damage when you play it. There's plenty of good cards. You could almost build an entire limited deck if you had 4 ofs.
We're close.
Sure. Not sure you could say that about it. But also, there's a bunch of awful ones either. Yeah. No, the 4-cost 3/6s, both of them support the heal 2. Not the 6-cost Amber Isabella. That's bad.
That one's good. 4/5. Okay, so
my point is them working together. The
worked so
synergy,
good with the
right?
Bruno and the Isabella.
Yeah, but the Bruno is literally the only payoff that matters, because the other payoff was the Alma, the 6-cost Alma, which wasn't enough of a payoff to warrant including those for the sake of the synergies. The ones you mentioned are good on their own, so the synergy doesn't matter.
4/5 quest for 2 is pretty good too, I think.
For 6?
Hey, all right, I went 13.
My 6 cost
what was your
7/6
record?
to
Right?
Opera
I don't know.
has
I
something
don't
to
know.
say
I
about
don't know.
that.
It worked for me, and I almost healed one of my characters and got lore off.
I almost
I almost did. I won before it happened.
One time came really close. Yeah.
I won because the 4/5 quest for 2 is such a good card.
You could have had anybody that quests for 2 at that.
Questing for 2 is always good. Yeah.
Yes,
it is.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Going back to what you said about mono synergistic, this is where I think set design. One, I don't want 40 madrigals. That doesn't make any sense, right? There's how many of them are impactful. I don't want 5 of each of them, right? So this is where set design wise, I think we need higher density of synergies. But this is where we got to get creative, because I agree, smashing different franchises together is fun, but it can't be ignored that the most popular card game with the most popular limited format is very popular because of synergies, and their casual format Commander is very popular for synergies, goblin decks and different tribal decks. So synergies can be very desirable as well. There are people that want to play the toys deck. So this is where I mentioned, it doesn't have to be the Madrigal synergy. That healing could have been attributed to a few different families, right? They've done healing with princesses before. Like, why does it can
I
be
wish
that effect in different franchises, right? The healing enablers and payoffs, right? Synergies are just enablers and payoffs, right? So the enablers and payoffs don't all have to come from one franchise. Toys could be from others. Supers was the easiest, because for me, they almost buried the lead in terms of there was a Gosselin Mallard in the set that was a superhero.
Yep.
So it wasn't just Incredibles that were supers in the set. There was one sneaky little Gosselin Mallard that was a super in the set. So why couldn't we have done that? Why would they not have Darkwing Duck one set later, pair that with Incredibles, and done a huge super?
And building on that, Heath, I wish the item like Super Suit was like tap this to exert to give target character super stat, like build, like tagline. And you could start giving your other characters like other things, or like when you play this character, target character to the end of the turn becomes the super. Like, bam!
The
like
problem is
that
for that type of thing
up
to be effective, there needs to be enough things that are good to care about that, right? So that's where the density of it, right? Because an item like that doesn't work unless you have 30 or 40 things, you know, that are in that ecosystem, and 10 of them that are good payoffs for supers. That would be like, if I could turn something super, much like Gyro Evac, you know, that if evasives didn't matter, that item wouldn't be good. But because evasives matter, that item is good.
Correct.
Do you think I'm passionate about synergies?
So are you, Kole, what you're saying is, would you would like a card that maybe says like exert, pay 1, chosen character gains the super classification until the start of your next turn?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe we throw in like resist +1 and we make it a 1-cost item called Detective's Badge.
I think you add that as another ability. You pay 2 or you pay 4 and you give resist +1. You know, pay 2 ink, give resist +1. You can repeat it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, what I want is kind of what I've come from other card games like Magic the Gathering. They have items that you can play on the field or the play area, and you also have equipable items. I thought we, at least a set or two ago, we're going to get items that you could attach for a permanent effect or pay an additional fee.
Have that. Feather, Dumbo's feather and all that.
Feather,
they played around with the
kind of, yeah. Well, it gives it evasive while it's out. It's not a true attach, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So,
but that's kind of what I hope was bad. Why was Detective's Badge bad? Kole, why was Detective's Badge bad in Whispers?
Because it was uninkable and it didn't draw you a card.
It was inkable. It was one cost inkable item.
No, because how many cards actually were good that cared about detectives?
Yep.
That's not very good.
No.
Right? There was two that I can think of off the top of my head. There was the Judy Hop 6/4 that gave alert and resist 2 for detectives, and then there was the 5/4 Nick Wild that drew cards with detectives. If there was also 5 or 6 more of those at different rarities that were good payoffs for detectives, all of a sudden Detective Badge might have been good.
There's also your the Judy Hopps, the 4-cost Judy Hopps, but she pulls a detective off the top of your deck, which doesn't count for Detective Badge.
Exactly.
But there's also Chief Bogo calling the shots. Your other characters gain detective classification. So there's a character.
Also, it was in a weird slot. Like, I don't want that kind of an item to be early play, in my opinion. I'd rather it be a little more like a Gyro Evac, where it costs a little bit more, but I'm gonna drop it turns 3, 5. Maybe not 3, 5, 7, 6, whatever, that I can slap it down and get some use out of it right away with a board state that's kind of already established.
But you can also pair synergies with something that you do care about. So it could be target character, chosen character gets the detective classification, the supers classification this turn, and when you do it, when it challenges, draw a card, like a powerful effect coupled with the synergy. So that again, it's good on its own, but also if you can make the synergies work, then it's even better. Right, so there's different ways of creating more synergy options that can still play well in limited. This is the problem that I've seen.
Draw a card onto anything, and it becomes a 10 times better card.
Like, don't be nervous. I'm looking at it right now. The 5-cost action that requires princesses and 2 dwarves. It's like, it's just nothing.
Yeah.
If you don't have a distinct number of dwarves. So like, could we have made that where it's like you do something pretty good without any synergies, and even better if you've got synergies, right?
Yeah.
Man, it's almost like Ravensburger should hire Heath for the head of their limited draft and sealed division of Lorcana Game Development.
I'd consider it.
There you go.
I'll be in the luck department.
Yes, free consulting is out there.
I'll be in the luck department over Enchanted
Yeah.
Pulls. So.
Look.
Yeah.
Hey, Cole, you can be responsible for that pack opening experience. Like,
Yeah. Let's go.
There you go.
You want to pull your Enchanted Pull with Cole? Hey.
So Kole has already talked about what kind of card he wants to see. So Andy, Heath, what card would you have wanted to see in this set that you think would have improved the limited gameplay?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I think they needed an Andy card.
right? Why is there no Andy? We got Christopher
Yeah.
Robin.
Yeah, we had Christopher. So I think we need an Andy card, and I think it needed to. Again, this kind of plays into the idea that there isn't really enough, value in these synergies, but it would be the anti synergy to that, right? It's like that Moana character, that Banish chosen, when you play this character, Banish chosen Taka character, or
Right.
character named Taka,
Mm-hmm.
and like someone at the game dev team was like, man, this Taka is going to be so good, we need a card that specifically counters it. So like, I don't know that it would have been great, but an Andy card, or other people said Andy's coming, a thing that like
Oh, yeah.
exert
An
all
action or
toys,
something. Yeah.
right? Yeah, exert all toys, or like all toys, exert all toys, and they can't ready until the start of your next turn or something like that. Yeah, it would have been cool,
A
but
little sad we
yeah.
didn't get Zerg, but
Yeah, it probably
still
wouldn't
time.
have been.
That's going to be an iconic in a future set.
Yeah, I know, right?
next deck.
I will say the same thing I say about every single limited set. We need more removal. There should be at least 4 or 5 pieces of common and uncommon solid removal in every single limited set that ever was, or will be.
Oh man, bro, you're really shaking up the core constructed.
No, because eventually they become
format.
superfluous. Again, I'm going to reference Magic the Gathering. There is 8 million different versions of removal in Magic the Gathering. And they just slap new skins on old cards. One in a black, destroy a creature, with this kind of
Pay
slight
3,
restriction,
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
no, you can absolutely flood the core constructed market with removal and still not really move the needle in terms of core constructed, and maintain a healthy limited environment.
As long as the card doesn't have the words "for free" tagged on the end.
Yeah, free needs
Yeah.
to leave the vocabulary.
For free, period. Draw a card. Period.
For free.
Wouldn't that
But-
be nice?
I think again, this is my first trading card game, so I don't really have the experience into other games and things like that. But from my perspective, a deck like Blurple is so strong because it basically has more single target removal packed into those 2 colors than any other color key. I mean, Hades and Let It Go are 8 unconditional just character removal.
Mhm.
Other than Ward, right? Like they're gone. And then Into the Unknown is also very strong because exerting is something that you very often have to do. And so like,
Mhm.
you compare that to other colors that have like strength less than 2, or evasive character, banish this, or banish more than 5 strength or something. Just having that amount of just three different removal tools that you can put in a deck, 12 cards, makes that a very playable and very strong contender in the metagame. So it just worries me about if we flood the board with more removal, how would that change things up? I'm not opposed to it, right? Like,
Find more effective ways to give other colors removal without creating a unilateral board ripe and amber that doesn't belong there. There are other ways to do it. And B, think about it this way. If there was one more piece of good removal for Blurple, they would probably play it. If there was 15 more pieces of removal for Blurple, they wouldn't make their entire deck removal. So at some point,
Are you sure about that? Are you sure? Don't tempt me. Don't
they
tempt
need
me with a
lore,
good
they
time
need
here,
card
Heath.
draw, they need other things in their
Oh.
deck to make it effective. They need ramp.
Well,
So if there was 15 other pieces of removal, they wouldn't have a 60 card deck of removal. So this is where you get to the point where there is a it's a max min chart, right? You get to the point at the peak where there's the most number of good removal actions that the deck wants and or characters, and at that point it just becomes diminishing returns. You want the diminishing returns because then it becomes safe to print more in limited. This is where the constructed and limited set design needs to go hand in hand, is you can't make it so good. Let me give you a perfect example. In Whispers in the Well, we had a 4-cost inkable action that put a character in the inkwell and top card in the inkwell. That was not good for constructed, but in limited, we were perfectly fine with that. It wasn't nearly as good as Dragonfire, but also Dragonfire isn't playable in constructed either. So there's absolutely ways that you can make removal that's good enough for limited without being too good for constructed.
Yeah. And I think we'll see some of that removal, at least I hope, eventually like reskinned in like our Hades Infernal Schemer, but it's like Hans, and he comes in and he banishes a character and he's uninkable, the same stat line, like, and then you can play it in your Blurple deck and it's frozen, and it's, that's what I think we'll see it as first before we get to the level I think that we all want. But I'll be happy with that slow burn to grow because I'm here for the long haul personally. But
yeah, I guess I can see that, if there is that critical mass of removal now it's not a matter of Blurple being good because it has the most removal. Everyone has the same amount of removal, and it's really about like which of the removals do I decide to play in my deck, which then gives me a little more maybe deck building expression, and gameplay expression by deciding to choose, I'm gonna do the removal that also hits locations, or whatever.
And them giving me like Flit last set that was an 0-2 move 1 damage. If they tell me that's removal, I'm like, no, I'm not.
That's removal. That is removal. All right.
Yeah. But I'm saying you can have more of those. But I need 4 to 5 like solid, either unilateral or just imminently playable cards that can deal with bombs, that can deal with our big evases.
I miss the simple days of Dies to Medusa. Just 6-drop, banish your guy. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But speaking of removal, the what is the 3-cost uninkable brawl plus bonus
the Firefly Swarm.
Mm-hmm.
I think having the synergy of being able to put 2 cards in your discard is whatever, but the amount of times that I was able to swing, clear their board +1 with that Firefly Swarm by swinging 2 characters in and then playing that to remove the hardest one of the the hardest character to remove was pretty nice. There was one turn where Kirsten had the 6/6 resist 1 exerted, and then she had 2 3 willpower characters, and I had 2 3 willpower characters, 3 strength characters. And she decided, okay, well, I'm going to quest with those 2 characters anyway, because he can't, remove my 6/6. And I swung both of them in, traded 1 for 1 on both of her characters, and then played the Firefly Swarm on the 6/6. And I told her, I was like, honestly, if you hadn't exerted those, I was just going to run both of my characters into yours, let them be banished, and then play the Firefly. I was just going to have to do it, right?
And that was something that I think Googly pointed out, kind of similar with the Firefly Storm, was like you could use like the 1-drop, the 0/3 that bounces back. Technically, it goes back to your graveyard first, or to your discard first. Excuse me. So that counts as 1 card going in there.
Yeah.
So like that, just those little numbers of remembering, which I think they fixed the wording on of hey the last set, but then they didn't keep it the same.
I did that exact play in my Friday draft. I ran my Will o' the Wisp in, traded another character, and it was my
play.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, okay. So I do want to wrap this up.
I was going to say, is this going to be your longest one yet?
No, not by far. I've had some long ones. So, and actually,
We
our
can keep
last one
going.
was a
We
little
can
bit
keep going if
longer.
you really
I mean,
want.
yeah. So, how much time do you guys have?
I told you the
no.
biggest challenge is getting me to shut up.
No. Okay, so before we go though, I want each of you to give your elevator pitch for someone to try a limited format.
I can go first.
Yeah,
for
go
it.
for it.
All right. You'll pull 6 enchanted if you play with me. Open packs with me. Let's go.
No, specifically, don't open packs with you because you get all of them.
Yeah.
No, you gotta be luck. The luck is spread near me. At the same table, at the second event, somebody pulled an enchanted at the same time as me. So,
Sick.
the same.
All right.
Andy?
Yeah, I think limited format, specifically sealed draft, is like harder, and I'm not. My brain is too smooth for that. So Heath will maybe give you an elevator pitch for draft after you've tried sealed. But if you like Lorcana, sealed is a great way to put everyone on the sort of the same playing field. It comes down to fundamentals of card games, fundamentals of decision making when playing the game, and there's obviously luck that goes into it. You got to open your packs, you got to pull 3 Cruellas, but it's a great way to have fun, open packs, and kind of put yourself on a level playing field with some of the very best players in in your area.
Nice.
All right. I don't have this practice, so I've got an idea in my mind of where I want to go with this, and we'll see. All right. Do you play Constructed and you're sick of constantly playing the same deck over and over again, the same lines over and over again, the same matchups over and over again? You should play Limited. Do you want to play with cards you don't get to play with otherwise? There's a new set that came out, but guess what? Only 4 of those cards are meta relevant, so those are the only 4 cards you ever get to play with. You want to play with more cards of the set? Play Limited. If you want to even the playing field, I've known some incredible Constructed players that are miserable at Limited, but also in deck construction. I can't afford the $400 deck, but it's Limited. We're all in the same place. If you want to leave even the playing field, play Limited. If you love solving puzzles, it's not just about the repetition. It's about the fact that with Constructed, I'm playing the lines. I got to learn my lines. I got to learn this. If you want to solve puzzles, there's 7 random cards in my opponent's hand and 7 random cards I haven't pulled before in my hand, and I got to find out how they work together and my opponents work together. Play Limited. If you like doing wild and crazy combos that you'd never get off in Constructed because they're not refined enough or focused enough for Constructed, you should play Limited. And last but not least, if you like playing Limited, but you're a little bit worried about the pack opening luck and you want to mitigate that luck problem as much as possible, play Draft. Because if I open all bad packs, I only have to take 1 card out of those. I can ship the rest of them to my neighbor, and they got to deal with the rest of it. And you can give me all the good packs that you open.
Or just simple solution, only pull enchanteds.
Then you feel like you won before you even play, and you don't care what your record is.
You just take it and walk away.
Very
That's
true. Very true.
Nice. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me. Yeah. Oh, are you sure you didn't practice that before?
By the way, my elevator went to the 400th floor. This was no 30-second elevator pitch.
No, it's great. No, yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it so much for taking some time tonight. Always love having y'all on and talking about the latest sets and all the limited fun that we've all been having. So let's go around and tell folks where they can find you and your content. Kole?
Oh, I'm going first.
Yeah.
You find me at Quest with Kole across social media. I'm a Coffee with Kole on YouTube once a week on Tuesdays at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Content creation for some of the luxury gaming Lorcana team videos at Luxury Gaming TV, as well as in their Twitch channel at LuxCana, which is Allie's page, but we stream from the shop over there. So,
Perfect. Andy?
You can find me at ROV Andy on Twitter. or Villain Andy. You can find me on Twitter somewhere, maybe. But my podcast and all my crew, we're at Rules of Villainy on all the social media platforms. On YouTube, we do a podcast once a week, comes out on Fridays. We have me and my wife live stream testing decks on every Tuesday. Yeah.
Dang.
Cool.
For myself, at the Mad Drafter on both Twitter/X and YouTube. Again, I'm a great person to subscribe to on YouTube because you only have to see from me, for 1 week out of every set. So usually about the Wednesday, the week before set release until the Wednesday before set release, I'll usually do about 6-7 videos with set reviews, strategies and tips for drafting. Oh gosh, and sealed. Emphasis on both. I get a lot of wonderful guests like the gentleman that you see before you today. They were on the last one. So if you're wanting to learn more about Limited, or you're already kind of comfortable with it but just want to get better at Limited, find me there and I will hopefully help you out. And I'm very responsive in the comments. If you've got any questions, by all means, ask them in the comments.
And I cannot tell you the number of people that I heard saying, I watched Heath's videos this time and it helped me so much. So you do a great job. So just
Thank
FYI.
you.
Best 3 of us.
As I was being
It's all the
interviewed
guests.
at the podium for going 13-0, and all the cameras were flashing, and they said, Andy, how did you do so amazingly in all of your sealed events? And they held them. I said, check out the Mad Drafter on Twitter, on YouTube. He taught me everything I know.
No, he said, don't do that because he would tell you not to play Leviathan's Lair, and that's patently wrong. Always play Leviathan's Lair.
It's good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you around the community.
Yeah. Till next time.
Bye, everybody.
Well, it's always great to have these 3 amazing Limited players and all-around great human beings on to talk about sealed and draft gameplay. If you like the show, make sure to like, subscribe, and rate the show on your platform of choice. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can find us on all the socials at Inkwell Lounge, or you can find the full list of links at inkwelllounge.com. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.